Hello everyone out there. Happy New Year for 2018. If you're watching this, you're probably already in the crypto game, which means you're having a good new year so far. The cryptos are off to a great start, but at some point we're going to want to take some of our profits we've made on the cryptos. I mean, after all, what's the point of having them if we don't get to use them, if they're just numbers in a wallet somewhere? So, the problem is when you take profits, you have to pay taxes. And this is becoming more and more of a big issue. So, I'm going to show you in this video how you can avoid paying taxes on your cryptos legally. Alright, I'm going to give you 6 ways you can do that. So, stick around to the end. So, let's get started. The first way you can avoid paying taxes on your cryptos is to HODL. Now, that may not be what you had in mind. You're like, oh, this guy's losing me already. But stick with me, okay? Now, just in case you don't know, HODL, H-O-D-L, means hold on for dear life. It's big in the crypto world. It's really volatile, but the prices are going up in the long term, which is really short term. So, just hang on to them. And you only have to pay taxes if you sell them or exchange them. Now, there's been a recent law where they've basically closed the loophole of 1031 like-kind exchanges. But regardless, the point is if you hold the crypto, you don't have to pay taxes on it. You don't have to pay until you actually sell it. So this may not be for everyone all the time, but it's the first one I wanted to mention because it's really the best way. So, that's really my strategy. I'm not selling anything anytime soon. I'm not going to sell anything significant this year if I can avoid it. And I'm going to explain more and more on why as we go on. But I just want to bring up the concept of hodling because, there's a lot of people right now, they're just chasing the next moonshot, trying to get the next coin that goes up like Verge or Ripple did. Even EOS in the past few months, has went up a whole lot. And there's lots of others too. Some of these are going up 1,000% in a day. Or in a short period of time. This is crazy. So a lot of people are chasing the next coin to go up a whole lot. So they want to sell some of their cryptos that have already went up a lot and then put that into another crypto that they think is getting ready to go up a lot. And that is a taxable event. Even though you're just exchanging one crypto for another, that's a taxable event. It would be nice if you only pay taxes when you exchange it for a currency like a dollar, but that's not the case. So trading is taxable, and then you're gonna be stuck with a big tax bill at the end of the year if you're not prepared. Or even worse, if you don't pay the tax and the IRS takes they find out about it, they may take all of it. You may be in serious trouble where you go from being very well off because of your crypto investments to where you're looking at maybe jail time, huge penalties where they take all the profits you made on your cryptos, and a lot of headache. So I guess before I get any further, let me give the disclaimer because I don't want to be sued or targeted or anything like that. So of course, this isn't financial advice. You seek a qualified attorney and or accountant to help you understand the tax laws and the consequences and stuff like that. Don't listen to me. I'm just giving you some ideas that I'm thinking about. I certainly plan on staying within the legal limits of the law because not because I agree with the law, but because I'm afraid of what the guys with guns will try to do to me. But that's another topic. So do your own research. This is just the beginning of it. If you haven't sold yet, then you're not gonna, even if you sell right now, you're not gonna have to pay until next year. Because if you sell today, it's 2018. Well, taxes for 2018 won't be due until this time next year, or maybe even a year later. You can wait until April. So, basically, if you are going to sell, the closer you get towards the end of the year, the less it makes sense to sell. Because, if you sell December 31st, then, that taxable event is going to be taxable, right around the corner. You're going to have to pay taxes on that. Whereas if you wait on January 1st, you've got a year before you have to pay taxes on that. So that I would expect some people to want to go ahead and start selling their cryptos now. Maybe they wanted to sell 2 weeks ago. Now the markets went up a little bit, and they could defer their tax burden for a year. I would think there'd be more people selling today than they were a week ago. But the cryptos are still going up. This is a really good sign for the crypto world. And hey, HODL guys. I think in the end, the HODLers may do even better than the traders. Especially when these trades don't work out so good. Right now we've got things just everywhere, just going up. It's insane, literally. The moves in the market are huge, but eventually a lot of these are going to start dying off. A lot of these are going to be exposed as frauds and stuff like that. So, if you're bouncing around, you're going to have more of a risk of holding the hot potato when the song is over. So, pick good companies, good projects that you're really sure about, that you're really passionate about, and HODL. That's probably the best strategy. That's what I'm using. I'm going to tell you the other ones that I'm going to be considering as we go forward. So let's go ahead and start with the second one. And this is probably going to be something that I'm going to use in 2018, and that is Salt Lending. Salt is a crypto. If you haven't heard about it, what it is, let me take you to their website. It's blockchain-backed loans. So it's a way for you to get your own currency, like US dollars, without having to sell your crypto. So you get the best of both worlds. You don't have to, like for example, let me go back to the hodlers there just real quick, and then I'll tie it in with the salt. So if, I remember the first time I heard something about Bitcoins going up a whole lot, my buddy had got them really cheap, and they'd already went up so much that immediately I was like, sell, you need to sell. And I mean, they were still really cheap. I forget what the numbers were, but I mean, it was nothing. Probably less than $100 each. And I was like, sell, that's a huge gain. I would be happy with that. And, if you were to sell, you'd have to pay capital gains on it. But then look at that, like if you're trading, you're selling, stuff like that. Yeah, you might think you're doing good when your crypto goes up 20 times, 50 times. But if you hold it for another few more years, it might go up way more. So the same thing that happened with Bitcoin. He could have sold, but holding it, you make more money in the long run, because you never know how high these things could go. So with that in mind, yeah, you could sell some cryptos to cash in on some of your profits right now, but why would you do that if you could get a loan using the cryptos that you would have sold otherwise? You keep those, use them as collateral, and get a loan, and still get some money without giving up your asset. And that's exactly what Salt Lending is set up to do. And they just launched less than a week ago. It's small at first, and then it's going to get bigger and bigger. So, they're only handing out a lot of loans. I mean, Salt isn't actually doing the loans. I won't get into too much in the Salt project. Just want to get you introduced to the concept if you're not familiar with it. But this is a great way of being able to get the best of both worlds, where you get some of your profits from your cryptos without actually having to pay taxes on them, and even without having to sell them. So salt is great. Look at this economics. It says maintain your position and avoid less than optimal tax events. So salt is really exciting. It's a great idea. I definitely am planning on getting me a salt loan at some point in this year. And right now, Salt has announced with their brand new launch that they're going to be accepting Salt tokens at the value of at $27.50, and that can be used towards the principal and the interest. So I mean, they're basically $27 right now, but you can still buy them for $13. So that's, you know, I mean, if you can get a loan and pay it back, you know, with tokens that you paid half the price of their value, yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer, you guys. This is I don't know how long this is going to last. Yeah, I mean, salt was $2.50 when I made a video showing and explaining why I bought it. I'll actually link to that in the description below. You know, I bought it at $2.50 back then. But still, $12.50 is a good deal if you haven't got into salt yet, especially if you're wanting to use the service. And that's a great way to avoid paying taxes with your cryptos. All right, let's move on to the third way. And the other 4 ways I'm going to show you are all on this post. I'm going to link to it in the description also, so you can check out this post if you'd like. I don't know how good these strategies are. I don't know how realistic they are, but I'm just going to go over them so you can check it out, look into them, and then figure out which way works best for you. So one way, the third way is to buy your cryptocurrency in an IRA. So, you know, there's a couple steps in the process, but you know, there's a little bit of directions here. They kind of give you a little bit of details, but if you're interested in that, like I said, come check out this post, learn more about it, get an attorney, get an accountant, figure out what the laws are. This is something that I'm going to be doing ongoing in 2018 as my investments go up more and more. This is going to become more and more important, and as I want to start pulling money out, this is the kind of stuff I'm going to be looking at. But like I said, I think in 2018 I'm pretty much just planning on getting a salt loan, and that should be fine. But then going on to 2019 and on, I'm going to start looking at these other options. And I mean, it's never too early to start looking, because some of them, they take time to establish and to make happen. So you might as well start looking now, understanding the process of how things work, because, you know, you may only have a couple $1,000s in cryptos right now, and so you're like, oh, well, it may not be worth it for me to start spending my time this and that, but it may. If your $5,000 turns out to be worth $500,000, and you're going to sell it and the government's going to want to take half of it, you know, or anything close to half, even a third, you know, you're looking at $80-something thousand. Well, so, you know, thinking about this ahead of time might save you that huge tax burden. So another way is to buy your cryptocurrency in your life insurance policy. I don't have life insurance, but if I did, you know, this might be another option that works for you. So, you know, just throwing it out there. Another way to avoid paying taxes on your cryptos is by buying your cryptos as a resident of Puerto Rico. Now, this is really good information to know, and it only happened recently. Well, first you need to know that America is almost the only country, it's the only notable country in the world that requires their citizens to pay taxes no matter where they live in the world. So that means if you're a U.S. citizen and you move to any other country, you still have to pay taxes as a U.S. citizen. that's one of the reasons why we're not as free as what we thought. You know, we're taught in school we're the land of the free and all this other stuff. Well, I mean, that's not very free, especially when we're basically the only country that does it. So with that in mind, the only exception to the rule, at least that I know of, is Puerto Rico. If you live in Puerto Rico for most of the year, basically, at least 183 days a year, then you don't have to pay U.S. income taxes. You have to pay a small Puerto Rican tax, but it's way less than U.S. taxes, especially if you're making a lot of money, because, you know, of course, in America, the more you make, the higher percentage you pay. So you're not only paying taxes on a higher amount, but it's a higher percentage, and it really adds up. So the more money you make, the more it makes sense to live in Puerto Rico. Now, the only thing I'm not sure about with this is I don't know if it matters if you buy them as a resident of Puerto Rico or when you sell them. But I'm assuming that, I mean, when in this article it says buy cryptocurrency as a resident, but I'm assuming that if you sell it as a resident, if you buy it as a U.S. citizen, if you buy your cryptos as a U.S. citizen, but then you move to Puerto Rico, then you sell them, I'm thinking that you don't have to pay taxes on them. So I may be wrong, I don't know. I want to look more into it, and if you know or have any information, give us a link to where we can find out the truth on the matter. Give us a link in the comments, let us know. But I would imagine that you just have to live there, because it's when you sell it that it becomes a taxable event. That's just my way of thinking, but, you know, like I said, I want to look more into it. And yeah, so there's some information here on about all this, you know, about the sections of the tax law and stuff like that, where you can read more about it. You know, I mean, I may even, if I start making a lot of money doing what I really want to do, doing my passion business, which is the awareness revolution, you guys. Quick little commercial. I mean, this is my passion. This is what I'm doing, and hopefully it gets to the point where I can make a living off of it, so I can travel around the world, not be tied down to one spot, and really just share my passion, share my message with the world. And if I end up doing well, I'm gonna move to Puerto Rico, because, you know, I mean, all I have to do is live there half of the year, which, you know, maybe I won't ever do this, but it's something that I'm really considering, you guys. Right now, it doesn't make sense for me. I don't make enough money. But whether the cryptos kick off or the business kicks off, you know, if either one of those happen on a large scale, it's going to make more and more sense for me to go to Puerto Rico. And, you know, if you want to get involved, you want to help me get to that point, because I mean, I'm spending a lot of time researching this stuff and sharing it with you guys, what I learn along the way. Just give me a quick thumbs up, simple as that. That helps me with YouTube, helps me get more followers. Subscribe, hit that bell icon, so that way you'll be notified when I do new videos. So little things like that will help me build this whole thing up and get to the point to where I can do this full time, share more information, provide more value to the community, because I do have a lot to give, and every little bit of help helps me out, you know, is much appreciated. So yeah, you know, check out my website too, you know, not just my YouTube channel, theawarenessrevolution.com. Join my newsletter. The link is in the description below, you guys. So yeah, Puerto Rico. All right. Let me go over this last way you can avoid paying taxes on your cryptos, and that's to give up your U.S. citizenship. Now, that doesn't sound very fun, but hey, if you don't want to live in Puerto Rico 6 months out of the year, it is an alternative. And again, just like Puerto Rico, this makes more and more sense the more money that you make. It used to be free to denounce your citizenship. Now it costs money, and the price just keeps going up and up. You know, because before, like, who would give up their U.S. citizenship? Everyone wanted it. Well, now people are realizing that it's really a tax burden. It's really shackles on your wrist. And especially if you're planning on traveling around the world and, you know, you don't need to be here. I mean, people are realizing it's not what it once was because of our government, our taxes, and everything like that. So more and more people are expatriating. They're giving up their U.S. citizenship, and that is an option if you absolutely don't want to live in Puerto Rico for half of the year or more. It's an option, but I do have to say, you know, you're gonna need to become a resident and get a second passport somewhere. You gotta look into the details. There are options. You know, you can look into the permanent traveler situation. You know, whatever you want to call it, strategy, where basically you travel around the world. You don't live anywhere. You know, stuff like that. So there are options, you guys, and I just wanted to kind of give a quick little introduction into some of the other routes that you can go, because you do not want to play Russian roulette with the IRS. I'm pretty sure they're going to want their cut, and they don't have sympathy for people who break their rules. So until we can abolish the IRS, you know, which is much needed, I think there's a very strong argument for taxation being theft. I think there's a strong argument for the income tax in America not even being legitimate. Watch the documentary From Freedom to Fascism. So, you know, until we can get rid of this beast that we live under, we got to figure out how to do it the smart way, where we don't jeopardize our freedom in the process of investing in cryptos in order to gain freedom, financial freedom, and in order to gain freedom in the world by living in a decentralized world. So we don't want to do that and in the process lose our freedom because of these goons that work for the IRS who think that they need to extort money out of people for us to live in a civilized society. So, again, hit that thumbs up, you guys. Share this with your crypto friends. And let me know if there's anything that I missed or any other ways you can think of to avoid paying your cryptos. Let us know in the comments below. And make sure to check out my videos in the future.